Well, there's been a lot of confusion regarding this letter. You mentioned the comment by the Secretary of Defense, Mark Esper, who had a little briefing with some of the correspondents at the Pentagon, and he said that this letter was inconsistent with the U.S. policy and that there was no plan to leave Iraq. And then minutes later, even though he was already in that briefing with the Secretary of Defense, it was General Mark Milley, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, who came back to the reporters after a few minutes to clear up some of the confusion. And here were his words. He said that the letter was a draft, that it was a mistake, and it should not have been released. He said that it was poorly worded, and that it implied a withdrawal. That is not what is happening now. Those were the words of General Mark Milley, who made it clear that this was a draft and that this was possibly something that the Americans were writing ahead of a possible official decision from the Iraqis, because remember that the vote in the Iraqi parliament is not a binding one. And so for now, the Americans are not necessarily, do not have to leave Iraq, and that will come down to the Iraqi government. And currently the prime minister is actually the acting prime minister since he resigned a couple of months ago. So it is very confusing, but it shows that the situation for the Americans and for American troops on the ground is a very difficult one. And there was one mention that added to the confusion from Mark Milley. He said that the letter was not signed. The problem there is that some of the pictures that we've seen of letters that have been going around, some of them were not signed, others were signed. So that adds a little bit to the confusion as to who made the decision to actually send that letter to the Iraqi government, who then leaked it to the media.